As smart as I think I am, I made a rookie mistake and I feel like an idiot. I mean, talk about stupid tax. Really, really stupid tax. A few weeks ago, I'd say about actually 8 weeks ago, I bought a business and I made a video about it. There's an episode from last week. I shot that 2 months ago when I bought the business and the adrenaline was high. Fast forward, and I missed a line item, people. I was so excited looking at the numbers, and I looked at these numbers 5, 6, 7, 8 times, like up and down. I should have had a second pair of eyes on it because what I missed was the difference between profiting $2,000 and $3,000 every single month to damn near going negative $2,000 to $3,000 every single month. And I had been stressed, and I still am, don't get me wrong, but I was losing sleep, like super stressed out and depressed, and just trying to figure out what the heck I was and I am going to do. And it has been nerve-wracking. Welcome to the Legacy Builders podcast, where we are redefining generational wealth one story at a time. I'm your host, Mario Gonzalez Jr., and today we're going to get into my huge, major freaking mistake. So just to catch you up from the previous show, I bought a business in Austin, Texas. It's a dog adventure, like hiking business, right? Very good revenue. I mean, clients are paying anywhere from $65 to $85 a day for us to pick up their dog, hike their dog, socialize it, and drop it back off. And then you have some additional services like overnight stay and different things that we can do. Now, that said, on paper, when I was looking at the P&Ls, I noticed that there was $110,000 of SDE, seller's discretionary earnings. And the seller was not trying to be shady or anything, like she documented everything down. But I think the issue that happened was I was working directly with the seller was working directly with me, and we should have had a broker to kind of vet and put the numbers together, right? Because the line item that was missed was her manager salary or owner payback. So there was a line item missing that did not show how much she actually paid herself. Now, to her credit, she did add it back, okay? But that said, once I started looking at the numbers, it became very clear to me that she generated $110,000 in revenue in 2025. And so once I saw that, and this is after the deal closed, my heart sank. I was like, oh shit, how did I miss this? Okay. And as we were having conversations, I think I asked her at one point, I was like, hey, how long did you work in the business? And she had told me it was a transition year, basically meaning that she has been transitioning her way out of the business. And so for some reason, I just didn't connect the dots. I didn't think to ask, okay, well, how much revenue did you generate? Because at that point, I would have been like, okay, if you generated this much in revenue, now that the business is remote, how much would you have to pay your employees? And it turns out she had been paying employees 50% of revenue, right? Sometimes a little more than 50%, which is not sustainable because she set it up as a partner share program. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have to pay service debt like I'm going to have to do, the numbers the math doesn't math, right? So I was like, well, crap, after I pay business expenses, which is about $50,000 for overhead, and I pay employees, it's going to be like $150,000. That leaves me $50,000 left over to pay off debt service. So off a $202,000 revenue business, I'm left with maybe $50,000. I have to pay back a $3,000 business loan. I have to pay back at least the interest payment on a business line of credit because I have to pay her a lump sum of $50,000 here in 2 months. So interest only payment is going to be about $500,000 a month. And then I owe her over the span of 2 years, $65,000 at 6.5%, which is another $3,000 loan. So I need to generate at the very minimum at least $7,000 a month in net just so I can pay the debt service. And I'm not putting my other assets at risk. Because again, I took a loan from my dog training business so that way I can shuffle over to my holding portfolio company, and then my holding portfolio company, Lifetime Legacy Holdings, purchased the business in Texas. Same with the business line of credit. So it's like if I default on these loans and I don't find the money, then those could be at risk because there is a personal guarantee on them. And it just gets super messy and complicated. To add to the complexity, I have to purchase the building that I'm in for my dog training business at the end of the year, or find a new space to lease, which is a whole headache in itself. Okay, so all of these things bubbling up to the surface, and yeah, I felt like a complete idiot. Now, I wouldn't say there's a silver lining, and it took me many, many weeks to finally figure out a plan. There's a lot of different levers that I can pull. So that way, maybe I'm not profitable, but I can break even. Okay, so we talked about wages. If I'm generating $202,000 in revenue and I pay the staff 50% of that, that leaves me with $100,000 plus overhead. Okay, I don't care what business you're in. If you're paying 50% of wages, that's not sustainable unless you're actually an owner operator, which is kind of the next piece, right? From an owner operator perspective, this business made sense. From an investor perspective, it did not. So I paid $300K for the business. I should have paid $115,000 as an investor, right? So, anyways, flipping back, so. Paying employees 50% is not sustainable. So I need to figure out a way to get it down to 30, 35%. And I can't just go in and tell these employees, hey, you're getting a 20% pay cut, because everybody's going to quit. And it makes it hard because I don't live there. So it's not like I can pick up the slack and then start working while I'm vetting out and finding new people. So I have a month left before I can actually pick up and move there for the summer. Once that happens, I need to find replacements ASAP and then restructure the compensation plan so that way, new employees still feel valued and like they're getting a fair amount of pay and so forth. But right there, I found myself, if I do it right, $15,000 to $20,000. All right, so that leaves me about $10,000 left. Okay, currently, there's a live-in caretaker model. And there's two levers in there. I think one of them is probably the most realistic, but current living caretaker does not pay for rent, does not pay for utilities, and every time a dog is boarding there, still gets $15 per night to take care of that dog. All right, I did the math. And just taking care of the dogs alone, that's $11,000 that I could put back into my pocket, or put towards debt service. Right now, the other piece of that is the rent, or the other lever. And the going rate for a room in Austin is about $1,000, maybe a little more than that, to rent a room in a house. So my thought process is, well, what if I find, because it's a 3-bedroom house, what if I find 2 to 3 people that want to be roommates or don't mind being roommates, and then they share the workload? They're getting a reduced rent, so maybe I charge them $500 a month. That's $1,500 a month in rent that they pay me, that I can put towards debt service. So another additional $10,000, right? But I think trying to find somebody who really, really loves dogs and is willing to work, and it's not work, right? If you love dogs and they're therapeutic for you, then I could see somebody wanting to fill that position and be in that role. But that's another lever. Right. The other fourth lever is obviously like increasing rates, which I think the previous owner just did about 7 to 8 months ago. So I don't want to go back as a new owner telling the existing client base like, hey, I'm going to raise prices yet again. Okay, that's just not going to be good for business. Or I can find additional services, or I can just grow the client base. Within the first 2 months of taking over, I did onboard 3 new clients, which is great. But I lost one. So there's going to be some attrition, right? And the good thing about this business is at least is usually customers are very loyal as long as they have good experiences, but they're not going away unless their dog passes away or they move out of state. So that's kind of the gist of it. Is is I bought a business thinking it was going to be a cash flowing asset, and it's turning into a fix and flip. And for me to go in and fix it over the summer, I'd probably have 2.5 months, and then I need to let it sustain for about 3 months, and then I can probably put it back on the market and flip it. But I think I still need to sell it at least $365,000 for me to break even, just the way that I structure the deal. So yeah, people, it's a very stressful and humbling experience. I was talking to my uncle, and he was talking about buying a house, and he bought this house, and the inspection was a year old, and he was like, "Oh, the inspection is not even a year old. I don't see the reason in paying somebody else to do another inspection." Several months after he moves in, there's a huge plumbing problem, and now he has to reroute plumbing and do all of these things. And he's like, "Man, I should have paid for that, that second inspection." So immediately I was like, "Dang, I should have paid somebody to review the numbers for me, or have folks in my camp look at the numbers." But I thought I knew what I was doing, right? Moral of the story is, yes, trust your gut, put in the repetitions, but have other people sign off, like pay the extra funds. I was being greedy too. I was like, man, I don't want to pay $1,000 or $2,000 for somebody to review this for me. And realistically, I probably didn't even have to, because I know people and I have the resources for people to look. And somebody could have caught it and saved me this huge ass headache. Hopefully that makes sense. But reach out to me with any of your experiences, stupid tax, whatever it is. I really want to learn from each other, and it's sometimes we don't always know what we're going to do or how we're going to figure things out, but we have to get shit done. So thanks for listening. I will keep you posted as I progress through the fix and flip. Again, I'm planning to move into the doghouse or Austin, Texas for the summertime and fix things and hire and vet employees. So there's going to be a lot of things to discuss. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.